Colorado. I was born here, and I choose to stay here because it's the closest thing to heaven on this planet I know. It's a land of canyons, of mountains, of clear mountain streams, and of wildflowers. But I'll bet when you hear Columbine, you don't think of this. I'm James Wilk, and I'm a physician in Denver, Colorado, and I'm a Columbine High School graduate. I attended Columbine High School from 1978 to 1982. On the day of the Columbine High School shooting, I was working in my office seeing some patients when I received a telephone call from my wife who told me that I needed to turn on the news and that some kids were shooting up my old school. I finished up with the patient and went down to the break room where we had lunch, where we had a TV. And I tuned in to see some footage of some kids being evacuated out a window at the high school. And heard the initial news reports that there were casualties and that a freshman had been killed out on the lawn. Well, I had responsibilities, I had patients to see, and after watching for about 5 minutes, I went back upstairs to see my next patient who was waiting for me. But during the course of talking with the patient, I realized that I couldn't actually pay attention to what she said to me because I was thinking about the events at my old school. And when I wrote a prescription wrong because my thoughts were elsewhere, I realized that I didn't have the mental clarity to be a doctor that day, and I asked my staff to cancel the patients and to explain to them that I had gone to Columbine High School and I was too upset and that I went home. And I drove home that day. I listened to the coverage on the radio, came home to my wife and my son who was in preschool at the time, and I pretty much spent the day in front of the television watching the events unfold. And later that morning or in the early afternoon, we learned the magnitude of the tragedy, that 12 students and one teacher, Dave Sanders, had been killed, and several others had been injured and were taken to hospitals. Now, there have been shootings since then. There was the Virginia Tech shooting, several other copycat ones. But that was the last one in the Denver area until last Friday, when the shooting in Aurora took place. Now, I lived in Aurora while I was an intern and a resident, and I'd been to that movie theater. And when I heard of last Friday's shooting, it brought back a flood of memories about Columbine High School and about the shock and sadness and even anger that I felt after the Columbine shooting. And I think that although the nation mourns along with us here, I think that I mourn extra hard because of my connection to Columbine High School and to Aurora, Colorado. And I just don't have the words to really express myself better.